Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. I've got the most unique person that I've come across in a very long time with me, Allison Fishburne. Allison and I met through her husband playing golf, and he said, "My wife's starting a bookstore in Paris, Ontario." And I sort of thought, why would anybody build a bookstore in Paris, Ontario? He said, "She needs a mentor." I said, "Well, come on over and we'll sit and talk." She did, and we immediately got along with each other. And I found that you were fun to deal with, and I love my visits to your bookstore. And I'll ask you in a second why you did it.
Yep.
But one of the things, Riverside Books in Paris, Ontario, if you want to go to a bookstore that's fun and doesn't feel like you're going to be jammed into a whole bunch of books, but someone who can talk to you about the books in it, go see Allison. So, Allison,
So Ross.
you've got an interesting history. Can we just catch up a little bit?
Well, I was born and raised in Central Florida, and I started my university career in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I had the opportunity to move to New York, and I did it. And I lived in New York City for 10 years. And then I met my current partner who helped me build the store. And we moved to Paris, Ontario. I've been here for 6 years, and I became a Canadian citizen this summer.
Now, this whole conversation is about resilience and tenacity.
Correct.
One of the neatest stories that you tell is about you left Florida, you went to New York City, and you had enough to pay for your schooling.
I didn't even have that really.
Oh, okay. And
I
you,
left scholarships at my first university in exchange for paying out of pocket, out of state tuition, working a retail job nearly full time, having unpaid internships, one paid internship, but the payment was free lunch and a Metro card and starving.
well, tell
starving.
the audience, because it's a true story, about where you found a lot of your meals.
It turns out that Starbucks garbage is really great at the 39th and 8th. I don't think Starbucks is there anymore. It's the corner of 39th and 8th, right around the corner from Times Square. But they would throw out packaged sandwiches. We weren't scavenging that way. It was sharing a slice of dollar pizza. So getting dinner for 50 cents each is a steal. And then, which that felt like a fortune at that time. That was a fortune. And I was a little over 50 pounds lighter than I am right now, which is a healthy weight, and filling a backpack full of groceries from Target. And that would have been $20 between two people to last the week. And then at one point, becoming recipients of SNAP benefits. So the food stamp program that is now being talked about in the news because so many people are going, anyways. This isn't a politics.
Yes, you said I couldn't talk politics.
In so many words, I said that. So I'll play by the same rules.
Okay, fine.
So yeah, but it was very dark days. Like I don't read my journals from then because it was a really dark place. And when people talk about being a starving artist, it's not glamorous. Moving to New York the way I moved, it was the way I did it. I wouldn't recommend it to people who don't have resilience in their blood.
And what about
And
tenacity?
tenacity. If you have any hesitation in accepting the charity out of a garbage can at the corner of your block, then I don't think you have tenacity. I think tenacity to me is being willing to accept every aspect of your circumstance and leaning into the parts that will allow you to survive and using that as the temporary stepping stone that this is temporary. It's overwhelming, but it's manageable. It doesn't look manageable in a traditional sense, but somehow it is.
It's setting up for a future opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what happened to you after you graduated and then wound up working for what? Are they the second or third largest interior design firm in?
I don't know. I worked for an international interior design firm, working admin, doing my plays on the weekends and nights, using my vacation days to put up my own plays, all of that. Yeah, but working for the design principals, and then from there going and working for another design firm that just it was really incredible. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk about how little resilience, okay, and a whole lot of tenacity. You went and got a job with this big design firm and went
Yeah.
from making nothing and scavenging to what I think you told me back.
87.5.
How long ago was that?
Oh my gosh. So I started there in 2017. It would have been, no, 2014 I started there. It was a couple years.
So if I took 87,000 from 2014, okay, that means it's well over 100,000 today.
In USD.
Yes. Okay, so we'll add a bit more. So anyways, I guess my question is, what did you learn from taking that big step,
Hmm.
bailing out of what was comfortable, going to something that was challenging, forcing yourself through, pushing yourself through? What did you learn?
Gosh, that's a more loaded question than it seems. I learned that I'm stronger than I think I am
Well, yeah.
all the time. I'm constantly shocked at how much I look back on and feel like, wow, I did that? What all did I like? What's like a couple of sound bites of all of that? Because there was so much else going on in my life at that time. I learned to trust myself and try to please myself and not others, which the way I was brought up was you please others and you really aren't present in yourself, in your own psychic space when you're only living to please others and you're in such a sense chasing after this or that and the carrot's always out of reach. So I think once you realize that the carrot is within reach and just sit and enjoy that and not overthink it. I think that's something that I was learning, but I didn't know I was learning when I was in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. When you're in the middle, when you're in the middle of the storm, you go, can I survive?
Yeah, I wasn't sitting and enjoying the accolade of, because I also didn't go to school so my undergraduate degree is art, so sculpture. My master's degree, my MFA, is in creative nonfiction. So I didn't go for business, or I'm very much a liberal arts person. So to work in a business environment and working in New York City business environment, the fast-paced environment, very hustle first, think later, was against so much of what was comfortable to me. And I think opening the bookstore in Paris, Ontario, and where I am now, having been through all of these things, the tenacity, the resilience, the things I was learning when I didn't know I was learning them, that's what's made it possible to have the bookstore, to open the bookstore and still have it and still be finessing it, still figuring out how to make it better than it has been each day, getting to know more about the books, the selection of books, what my customers are after, all of these things. I'm still working, but I'm more aware that I'm pleasing myself first.
It's interesting you say that because you're right. You're happy in there. But
So happy.
when you go into that store, everybody feels happy to the way you've got it.
Mhm.
Oh, I know this book. What do you like to read? And you get into them
Yeah.
and you
I
find out.
love that part.
And well, we were just there, last weekend?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
at the end of the day, I think I wound up with
You left with 6 books.
6 books. Yeah. So no, what came for one?
And I have another couple in mind for you.
Now that's tenacity, but I really want to come back to because I keep thinking as you're talking, it's like a hurricane. The hurricane comes, it hits Florida, it knocks the trees down. Then the eye of the hurricane hits, it gets calm.
Oh, yes.
And then the other part comes
Yeah.
and it gets rough again.
Oh, yes.
You sort of did that, leaving Florida with a scholarship and a nice.
Oh, my whole life has been a hurricane season. When a hurricane comes, I dodge that, or it's a near miss and it goes a different way. Or yeah, like you're saying, you're in the eye of the storm, and it could last, however long. But yeah.
Moving from Florida, where you were established,
Yes. Oh, yes.
to New York, where you're not established, that takes a lot of tenacity.
Yeah.
I mean, just to ask the question of what would make you ever to decide to leave comfort to go on an adventure?
Something in my biology. I think too, my personality is I'm so curious. I love I'm a critical thinker. I'm curious. The way I was brought up, those were not good things
Right.
to have, even though I was encouraged to go on to higher education, pursue higher education. It wasn't a direct fit with the cultural upbringing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So asking questions, questioning things, it was seen as an act of defiance, not a positive attribute. So the older I got and the more questions I had, the more I got to having to have my own identity and not the identity that was that of my parents, my upbringing, my community.
Interesting, though, just to jump ahead a little bit.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. You met Tim.
Yes.
Tim's from Beautiful downtown Paris, Ontario. Population of what, 5,000?
He was born in Kitchener.
Really?
Yeah, and raised in Quebec. And we met in New York City.
Yeah. Tim is a most interesting character. And the reason I'm bringing this up is when you go to Riverside Bookshelf on Dundas Street in Paris, Ontario, you're going to go into the store. And when you do, you're going to find the most unique merchandising that you've ever seen. Tim is a industrial designer, a
Yep.
graduate of Ontario College of Art
and Design.
Yes.
Yep.
And this whole shop is set up with the bookshelves so that they can all move so you can have
Events. We've had Tim's surprise birthday party the other night in there. It's designed with flexibility in mind. It's designed with being able to manipulate the space for whatever the needs of the space and the bookstore itself needs to be.
Yes.
It's never with just me at the forefront. Everything is meant to be used in more than one way.
Yes.
Because it's a smaller space. It needs to adapt.
You know, it's interesting because it's now what, a year and a half old?
Just 1 year.
Just what? Is it 1 year since?
It's only one.
Okay.
We opened on November 6th,
I remember
2024.
that. Yes, yes. Okay. Interestingly enough, when
Yeah, it all ties in. I was thinking about that on my drive over here.
yes,
I was thinking of, wow, I have so many resilience and tenacity stories.
so let me
Makes
come
it
back.
hard.
Let me come back to just put it in place. You started in November. You went through Christmas, and I can remember saying, "Oh, Allison, how's it doing?" You're saying, "I'm selling outside my budget. I'm doing better than my
Yeah.
budget." And then this summer hit, and what do?
There's all sorts of construction.
Roads.
The road is torn up. They had reroute traffic. It wasn't in the cash flow management plan, the 2-year plan, all these things. I didn't know I was going to be teaching again in the winter, all these things. Anyways, I can't help myself. Despite the traffic, it was just about recognizing what other partnerships do we have? What opportunities can we create? So we started a book club for the store, Riverside Literary Society.
Ooh,
Sounds very fancy, but it's not. We're not uppity at all. And we have monthly meetups. It's really laid back, casual. One of our regular attendees last month brought homemade cupcakes. So we had that with popcorn and pop. It was really fun. And so we started that. We just started doing more outreach programming that was different than anticipated. At least like the timeline was different. I thought about having a book club at some point, but then the timeline got shifted up to make it more of a destination than it already is.
When I say tenacious enthusiasm, you got to go in. If you're in Paris, go in because I've seen some of her staff, some of them very motivated. But when you go in, make sure that you ask for Allison because you're not a tenacious salesperson, are you?
Me?
Yes, you're not tenacious in making sure that somebody gets a book in their hand.
Well, it's more. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Fiction is good for the soul. Allison.
I'm gonna qualify this.
Okay, fine.
Because I don't just send people out with anything. I'm a matchmaker. And if someone isn't into the books or anything, I tell them, take a picture of it, look it up on your own. That's fine. No one leaves empty-handed. And I mean that in the sense that you're leaving with knowledge, you're leaving with resources, you're leaving with recommendations of where to eat in Paris. Or
if you can get to them.
Which the road did open.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it has.
Okay.
I'm sending folks away with either they've made a purchase or it's a memory that they're going to tell someone else, oh, we went to the best bookstore. You've got to check this out when you're in town. It's sending all these little feelers out into the world, and somehow all of them will come back.
Oh, of course, of course. I've got a big question for you. A, you came from Florida. B, you went through school in New York City and interned and did all sorts of things like that.
Mhm.
You worked for a couple of big firms. Then all of a sudden, you left the Big Apple for the tiny pear. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And
culture shock again?
Yep, culture shock. As a matter of fact, in Paris, Ontario, if you grow up there, you're called a Parisian. But if you're not from Paris, they call you a parasite.
Yes, that's true.
And it's really quite fascinating little town. It is very
Yes. Which I am a parasite. My partner and I are both parasites, but we are raising a Parisian.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Wally will. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is you went into a town where you really didn't know anybody.
No, one cousin on his side.
Okay. You didn't know anybody, found this space that was was had been part of a restaurant at one point, wasn't it? And
Yeah, there's a small restaurant in the back. There's our next door neighbor is an amazing bakery. So you come for books and you get to go to
those Chelsea buns.
Little Paris Bread Co. And so it was the right location for the bookstore at
Yep,
the right time
yep.
because we had a longtime bookstore, Green Heron, and actually the owner of that was our first landlord in Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't
Wait.
know if I ever told you.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
And we have a picture together of the first day of the store opening, and we're out front. So
Yeah,
that's in the
yeah.
bookstore. Going from US to Canada, on the surface, it's very transferable, but it's not. There are a lot of cultural differences and nuances that I had to get used to. And so I came up as a student. I was on a student visa for grad school and then worked towards my permanent resident status and then becoming a citizen. But in that time as well, we had a little thing called the pandemic. And so then really not able to meet people between that time because we moved to Paris in the summer of 2019 and then stuff happened and everyone's inside and sheltering and it was wild to watch the headlines of New York after we just left. I was really thinking this is going to get way worse before it gets better.
But I do have an interesting question.
You always have
You got a
interesting
grad
questions.
school, you got grad school and you got an MFA.
Yep.
You were teaching at Laurier?
Yes.
Okay. You could have likely continued to teach at Laurier and not taken the risk of opening a bookstore. You could have done a number of things. You could have, like,
Oh yes. So when the bookstore, our bookstore in town had been there for 22 years.
Yep.
Going back to
Yep.
Green Heron. And when I found out that he was retiring and he wasn't selling the business, I thought, my gosh, someone else is going to come in to Paris, Ontario, because it's the prettiest little town. And I was like, someone else is going to come in and do it. Someone else had tried to do it and it wasn't successful. They didn't even get the paper off the windows. It was to that extent. And I knew that between myself and Tim, we could open a really incredible bookstore. And so I registered the business name April of 2024. And we opened November 2024.
Back to tenacity for a second. Oh, but you'd written how many business plans before?
God, none. That was so hard. That was so
I can
hard. It was
remember
so
that.
frustrating, but I did it. And I'm so freaking glad I did.
Why?
Because it gave me that roadmap, but it made all of the lofty ideas and the things like, oh, I wonder if that could work. Oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? It really made me sift through and understand what was the heart of the business, what was the practical heart of the business. The business plan made me realize the nuts and bolts, the day-to-day operation of it.
So
I'm all or nothing, and you're an all or nothinger. Yeah.
I'm quiet and shy.
No, you're an all or nothinger. So when I get an idea of something I want to do, you will have to kill me before I let go of it. I hold on to things with a death. I know.
Tenacious absolutely designs. There's an old saying where I come from, terrier with a root. And you're definitely that because to get through this last little bit with the new baby, with
The
having
bookstore,
to cut back on staff, to a road ripped up in front of you, having a business close to you that can be a little challenging.
Yes, that too. That's another story. But
you're sticking with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in it for the long run.
Okay.
I play long game.
So I know you got to go, so I want to say thank you. But before I do, I got one question.
Please do. Because also I feel like I go in all these tangents. So yeah, you do too. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap me up.
Okay. Now you ready for the question?
Go.
Okay. What's next for the bookstore?
So we have a new partnership with the Brantford Public Library. So we did a book. We were the bookseller for Samantha M. Bailey. She's a thriller writer, and she was shortlisted for Canada Reads in 2025. Right. So we were the bookseller at that event on Thursday, this last week. And that was amazing. And we are already going to be the bookseller for Antonio Michael Downing in February for his Black Cherokee book. It's out now, but he'll be in Brantford for that. So we have the partnership developing and solidifying with the Brantford Public Library. We've already been with the County Brant Public Library, which we love them, and we're doing. They've got a really big, I can't say the name, but they've got a really big Canadian writer coming for one book run.
Means? No. Oh,
Bigger, much, much bigger.
oh, darn.
In April that we're going to be the bookseller for. So I'm really excited about that. I just can't say the name, but it's a good one. Really good one. And then we're going to be doing more author panel talks. So we did one last Sunday on walking and writing.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. It was snowing outside.
How many people did you have in your store? 600 square feet?
Yeah, and a snow day. And it was just incredible. And then we're getting approached to do more. We have more partnerships for 2026.
Now, last question. 5 years from now, what do you see for Riverside Bookshelf and its concept and where it's going? Is it just going to be a little store in Paris, or is there more that you've got in your head?
It's funny you ask. Thank you, Ross. That's a great question. Well, when we were in another town in Ontario visiting my accountant, I thought, wow, there's no bookstore here. There's a used bookstore that sells a lot of Celtic things, but there's no bookstore. And 2 doors down, there was a for rent sign from an espresso bar. And I thought, oh my gosh. And it's on the Grand River as well. So I'm going back and forth and figuring out whether I want to buy the building that we're in, get to that point, or open another location.
Or you could
Or not do those things and then be more stable in one location. What's the third option?
The third option is to be able to look and say, that's a piece of real estate that I'm buying. Finance it as a piece of real estate. Then you look and say, okay, do I have, and this is something that's very vitally important, do I have all the systems in place to build a satellite? Because every business needs to look and say, can I replicate? Am I ready to replicate? One of the things you may want to think about, cool term.
Yes.
You ever heard the term franchising?
Franchising.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a store down in Michigan, actually, that each location is different and has its own identity, but it's part of the same umbrella.
Well, in franchising, it's still the same identity. It's like a franchise. But what you do is you bring a person in who will own a small portion of it, but be paid the money as if they were the majority owner. That way, you absolutely control all the quality of.
Stay tuned, folks. This is the next part of this episode.
But it's a cool concept. But so couple of things in closing. Number one, you've just heard about someone who has made major changes in her life, is able to see where she's going, but also seeing different points where you didn't know where you were going, but you kept going. And no matter what she did, she figured out a way to get it. You never really see a problem, do you? You always see an opportunity.
Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse. What can I say?
Oh, no, I think it's wonderful. I keep saying people don't understand that every time there's a problem, it's a wonderful opportunity, and you need to look at that. So thanks for coming.
Thanks, Ross.
And I'm looking forward to my next trip. No, I've already got 2 books that I'm reading.
I'll see you at Riverside Bookshelf, and I'm going to ask you, what are you reading? Or I'll ask, what are you in the mood to read? And then we're going to find out.
Perfect.
Great.